And here is the president of the Boston Bruins, Cam Neely. We're going to talk a lot of hockey here, but Twitter just exploded when I promoted that you were coming on, and everybody wants to know, are you going to be in the sequel, the Dumb and Dumber sequel? Seabass?
Everybody does want to.
It's crazy, but you probably still get people when you walk down the street call you Seabass.
Yes, I do. It's kind of a little bit of a cult movie, isn't it? It's almost like this next generation of the Caddyshack movie.
Wait till we see your next performance.
What's the weirdest place that somebody's yelled at, or what's the oddest thing that's happened?
Off the top of my head, I don't really recall.
So you're going to be in the sequel?
So
I don't think so. I think they were trying. Last I talked to them over the summer, they were trying to figure out how to get Seabass in the sequel without it looking contrived. So I don't know if they've been able to figure that out.
Can I ask how the first one came about, Cam?
Yeah, the Fairley brothers are from Rhode Island, and they're big sports fans, and they like all the Boston teams. And I had actually. A friend of mine was a mutual friend of theirs, so I just met them, and all of a sudden they said, well, we're doing this movie. And the way Bobby explained it to me, Peter and Bobby had this character, Seabass, in their script, and they said, we need to find, a Cam Neely type guy, and finally they said, why don't we just ask Cam and see if he wants to do it? And that was before Jim Carrey was signed on. So I agreed to do it. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, and then Jim Carrey signs on and becomes this bigger movie than I think anybody really expected it to be. But it was a lot of fun.
There was really no acting on your part. It was just you being you, correct? Because I've played against you. Acting. I've seen that look.
Yeah, they just said, act like there's someone there that you don't like.
So Milan Lucic, I don't know whether you've seen this quote, but he's out there volunteering and says he wants to be the son of Seabass.
Yeah, I'm not that old.
So I guess I should watch this movie then.
Oh, it's classic.
You've never seen it?
No, but the guy that was in it I got to know the guy in Detroit. The other
Jeff
guy,
Daniels.
Jeff Daniels, used to sit in the press box at the Red Wings games, and I got because he was a great friend of Jimmy Lights, who is now the president of the Dallas Stars.
Yeah.
So I knew, but I've never watched the movie. So
it's because it's a comedy, Doug.
Yeah, I just like I like the documentaries.
And you need to have a good sense of humor.
Well, we hope they find a way to get you back in. Well, Jeff Daniels gone on to the Emmy-winning.
Was he Seabass or Seabiscuit?
So how long did it take you to get over what happened last spring?
It was, it made it a little easier, to be honest with you, knowing how banged up we were, and Bergeron probably wouldn't have played Game 7. But I look back at those 6 games, and I feel like the Game 1 where we had the lead and gave it up, and Game 4 where we score 5 goals and lose is kind of unlike us. I think Game 4 we win that game. Obviously, we're up 3-1 and could be a different series and outcome. But in 11 when we won, we got some breaks, got some we had health on our side, and that's the sport. It's a tough battle, as we all know, getting to the finals, and trying to stay healthy is as important as anything. And we were pretty banged up.
Well, go ahead, Mac.
Well, that series when it was 2-1, the momentum was so much on your side. It was almost like the Blackhawks were not going to come back, and they were frustrated, and they were at a sink, and they had their lines screwed up. It just looked like it was going to go the other way, and then, like you say, it just turned.
Yeah, it did. They they put Kane and Taves back together, and that kind of sparked them a little bit. And like I say, Bergeron got pretty banged up, so he wasn't playing anywhere near the way he was capable of playing. And you're right, it just turned on us. We like I said, that Game 4 where it was kind of back and forth. It was almost like who scores last is going to win, and that's kind of what happened. But we kind of got out of sync that game. To give up 6 goals is somewhat unlike us.
Big turnover, big guys, Ginla and Louis Eriksson. How do you like the look so far?
Louis still kind of figuring out our system a little bit. A little different than what he's accustomed to, but I think he's going to fit in real well with Bergeron and Marchand. I think they'll complement each other. And the Ginla, he's what we need on that line with Krejci and Lucic. It's more north-south line, and he likes to shoot the puck. He plays a physical game. He'll compete and battle, and so far so good with that line.
Hey, Cam, we saw Laviolette get fired, and I'm certainly not going to ask you, whether or not, on a couple occasions, if you guys have contemplated over the years making a coaching change. But can you speak on how sometimes it is difficult not getting overly emotional on making those types of decisions? I mean, I almost believe that it's a bit of a knee-jerk reaction out of Philly after 3 games, but obviously they made the change. But can you speak from your experience now and being in management how difficult sometimes it is to maybe not overreact when it comes to judging your coaches?
Well, even with your players, it goes through the lineup. It's you might have some bad games and feel like that someone's not doing the job the way you'd like to see him do it. But you do have to be patient, a little bit more patient than you would be as a player. You recall, you kind of forget the last shift and you forget the last game because you got the next one coming up, and in management's a little different. You got to look a little longer term. Although, when you play in markets that the expectations are high, sometimes you may think about doing things a little quicker than not, but you do have to maintain that patience as far as what I've kind of learned and experienced in the short time here.
After spending some quality time with us at the Stanley Cup final, Cam Neely, Boston Bruins president, joining us on the phone here in Hockey Central at noon.
Cam, really interesting debate I had the other night with a guy about Lucic, and this scout said to me that the organizers of Team Canada will be out of their minds if they don't put this guy in the hockey team, because he will find a way to keep up with the pace. You know him better than anybody. I mean, we're obviously big fans of his. This Olympic team, a lot of people have him written off. I mean, is this guy right that they've got to find a way to have this physical presence? I know there's no fighting, but on this team?
Well, his skating, I know a lot of people point to his skating, but he came into camp in fantastic shape this year. I think going to the development camp with Team Canada in the off season was for any player. It's exciting and certainly gives you motivation to see what could be in front of you.
He's a great ball hockey player, by the way.
I know.
Jeez, he can handle the ball.
Yeah, I think he still plays actually. But for him, I know it's a little bit bigger ice surface and whatnot, but there's still going to be times when you can force the other player to make mistakes by a guy like Milan coming down on you and knowing that you're going to get hit if you don't get rid of the puck. And a lot of times defenders or forwards may make that play a little sooner than need be to avoid getting contact. And he does see the ice well. He moves the puck well. So it all depends, obviously, how he does from now until they pick the final team. But he was chosen there for a reason. There's an element of his game that I think they feel could help Team Canada, and I don't blame him for that.
I'm asking you, Cam, not Seabass, but 2 high-profile incidents. One in the preseason, one in the regular season. On opening night, John Scott against Phil Kessel, and then you had the unfortunate occurrence in Montreal with George Parros and Colton Orr. And then some general managers came out, and Scotty Bowman, who's winningest coach in NHL history, and said that fighting has sort of passed its time, and maybe they should look at a game misconduct for the penalty if you drop your gloves. Where do you stand?
Well, I'm still a believer that there's an element of fighting that is warranted in our game. I think that you get 2 guys that get upset with each other and drop their gloves. It's one thing. You get a guy that gets upset with someone that took liberties of a skilled player. I think you want to keep that part of it in where I think there'll be more liberties taken. Personally, I'm not a big fan of stage fighting. I think that's something the league has done a good job of cracking down on. I don't think there's any need for that in our game, but I strongly believe that if some other players taking liberties, I think it's a way for the players to kind of we talk about policing themselves. I know referees are out there doing that as well, but sometimes the refs don't see the little chop behind the leg or the slash on the wrist, that may affect one of your skill players. So I think there's an element of fighting that needs to be in our game. I mean, I think they're doing a good job of reducing it. You don't see the bench clearing brawls. You don't see the line brawls as much like you used to. And but it's a physical sport, and guys get heated out there.
The double-edged sword, Cam, is when you got a pretty highly skilled guy who is tough. I mean, you did it when you played, and Lucic is as good as anybody right now. When you see the potential for a guy to get hurt doing it, does that make you maybe talk to Lucic and reiterate that you want to pick your battles? Do you tell him just keep doing your thing and not worry about it?
For instance, his fight with Redlich in the preseason, Cam.
Yeah,
that was a war.
Yeah, it was. It really was. As Claude said, that was a man's fight.
Oh my God.
Well, you know what, guys? I think there's an element to his game, like my game, that if a player's going to worry about you dropping your gloves and getting in a fight, and it allows you more room, that becomes a skill set that most people don't have, right? So I think I talk about different skill sets that players have, and one is being physical, one's being a great playmaker, goal scorer, finesse player. And the other is that intimidation factor of, we better not upset this guy because you're going to pay the price. And that goes back to what I said earlier about getting rid of the puck earlier than you should because you're afraid of getting any contact.
Thanks for doing this. And again, when you're in town with the Bruins, standing invitation to come in studio.
Sounds good.
If that's all right.
Yeah,
Thanks,
Yeah,
Cam.
I'd love to have you. Cam, good luck, bud.
Cousin Cam.
Okay, thanks, guys.